Okay, our next guest is a guy who frequently hits the gym. Sometimes it's with Dave McCann. Sometimes Jason Shepard's there as well. His name is Blaine Fowler. Blaine, how are the guns this morning?
So I didn't see Shep at the gym this morning.
It was a non-gym morning. By the way, I haven't seen Dave at the gym for like 2 years.
Oh, we're calling out Dave.
Dave quit the gym.
Dave quit the gym.
Yeah. Now he goes to the country club to the gym, which is like an oxymoron. Like
Country club and the gym?
And gym together, that's not serious stuff. That's country club, and you raise your hand while you're in the gym. It's like, hey, could somebody bring me like a soda?
So you're saying the gym at the country club?
And it's okay, but you're not, like Shep and I do like serious gym.
Yeah.
Dave goes to just sit on a machine and have somebody bring him a Diet Coke.
That sounds pretty nice, let's be honest.
And he plays a lot of golf now that he's retired.
Hey, who's the best golfer among you three, by the way, the AFR 3?
Nixon's good. You know what? I got to hand it to Dave McCann. When he was down in Vegas, he never played because he was so busy, but he had the greatest golf connections ever. I told him he's the biggest waste of a golf connection. And he was horrible at playing golf. And he has worked on his game. He's actually pretty solid.
Okay.
We're all pretty solid. Like, that's a pretty good group. Nixon's solid, too. And McCann is, like, light years better than he was. He's actually pretty good.
Most improved player.
Yeah, he's definitely
Dave
most improved in any sport I've ever seen, actually, because he was awful. and he's actually quite good now.
Okay. Okay, I love it.
He's like Steve Young when I first saw him as a sophomore quarterback to a Hall of Famer. That's how far Dave McCann has come with his golf.
That's quite the statement. I don't actually believe you. All right, let's talk about the depth chart. What stuck out from you of what was released of this depth chart?
Really not anything unexpected, but I know that going into fall camp, the coaching staff was really concerned about what they were going to do at nickel. They just didn't even know. They had no concepts like, what are we going to do? Are we going to have to move somebody from another position? And that group has really rounded out. They have a lot of confidence in the three that are on that depth chart. And remember, Jacob Robinson transferred from Utah State, where he played a lot as a freshman, and he was battling for a nickel spot. And then those nickels are not nickels for a corner spot. And those corners are so deep and so skilled, as good as BYU's in terms of depth and talent. BYU's as good a corner as they've ever been. It reminds me of the Tim McTire, Omar Morgan year in '96. That's saying a lot because those guys were lights out players, right?
Tim McTire will be at the Fan Fest Friday night.
That's right. He'll be there with us on Friday night. I'm excited to see Tim. But you have to go back that far to talk about the kind of depth that they have at corner. So here's Jacob Robinson. He's balling out at corner. And they thought, you know what, do we try him over at nickel? And they put him over at nickel. And you know, the coaches are just sitting there going, okay, here we go. And Caleb Christensen and also Jacob Boren have also been balling out at that nickel spot. And they each have unique skill sets. So I think that's the position that they were most concerned about, that they now feel very comfortable with. And Jacob Boren may be the biggest surprise of fall camp, because remember, he came in as a wide receiver. They moved him over to nickel. You could make the argument that he's the fastest player on the team. He's certainly the quickest player on the team. And they put him in one-on-one situations, you know, when they just go one-on-one, and they're going, wow, this dude can just flat out cover. And I think where Boren is going to really come into play is, let's say week 2 when you're playing Utah and you've got a slot receiver like Britton Covey. Boren will step up to that challenge. He's the perfect matchup for a smaller, really quick route-running slot receiver.
He's 5'9", 175.
Yeah, but blazingly fast and tremendous quickness, right? And so when you get against those guys, Britton Covey, blazingly fast, tremendous quickness.
Old man Britton.
Right, I know. It's amazing that a guy that old is that fast, right? Because usually you start to lose your speed at 35. At 35 years old and on down, you start to lose it. So I'm just teasing, and I love Britton. So
we all love Britton.
I know Britton doesn't listen to the show, I don't think, but he knows I love him. So, but it's a good group now, and I think Jacob Boren may be the biggest surprise. And
is he a walk-on? I haven't heard.
Yeah, he's a walk-on, wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
Slot receiver. And so you're going to hear a lot about all three of those guys this year, and I think you could call all three a pleasant surprise, with Boren maybe being the biggest surprise because he switched positions. And then the other one that stands out to me is Ben Bywater, who came in. Guy looks like Hercules. And, I mean, he looks the part. He reminds me, build-wise, of Jordan Pendleton from back in the day.
Really? Give him a big old chain and and a certain kind of shirt, and then you go from there, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he's scary physique, and he's really athletic, but he's really settled in and understands this defense really well. And so all of a sudden they're going, whoa, he's going to play a lot, and he's going to be a name. You know, we expected that Peely and Wilgard, I mean, they're
Thule.
Yeah, they're just phenomenal players. But it's like, is there going to be another guy that you look at and go, this is an NFL body that can play at an NFL level? And Ben Bywater's making a case that he could be that guy.
All right,
6'3", 225.
So let's go to the other side then. Give us somebody on offense that maybe isn't getting talked about enough that you think is going to be a pretty special player.
And the offense is more of a known, right? But Chris Jackson has had a phenomenal fall camp. And I think they came into the fall camp just going, where's Chris Jackson going to fall? And all he's done, the guy is a workhorse. He worked a tremendous amount in the offseason, and I think that he's going to play a bigger role than anybody ever thought. The way he's produced the last couple of weeks in practice, you're going, okay, this guy's going to be a big contributor. And you know that Jackson has, he's one of these just flat-out speed guys that can stretch a defense, but he's been making a lot of catches and becoming a reliable guy. So I think he's maybe somebody that moved up from where they thought he would be to where he sits now, and you see him on the depth chart. So watch for him because I think he'll have a big impact. And then, and maybe the guy that has had the best fall camp, period, is Neil Pau'u. And it's not a surprise because he was a clutch guy last year. But the level at which he has performed every single day in fall camp, it's been remarkable. Like he is just on every single solitary play. And he watched Dax Millen, I think, go out, and I think he thought to himself, wait a minute.
He told me this.
I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm faster. I watched how Dax worked and how he led. I take note, self, and grind in the offseason, become a leader. He's one of the leaders on this football team, but the work, you can see that manifest in practice. He has been so consistently good every single day, regardless of who's in at quarterback. So I think Neil's in for a breakout season. I think we're going to be talking about Neil as an NFL-type guy by the end of this football season. So
he didn't say it in those words, but he said, like, Dax showed the way of what a BYU receiver can do, right? Which is pretty exciting. And if you're Jaron, you're looking at Zach and being like, can I do some portion of that? Like, Zach had an all-time year.
Right.
Yeah, it's exciting. And even Blake Freeland at left tackle with Brady Christensen, right? So let's talk about the offensive line because, let's be honest, if the offensive line's really good, BYU's offense has a chance to be as good as we hope they are. So walk me through what you think of that group because Aaron Roderick on Coordinator's Corner yesterday said it might be the tallest offensive line in the country.
Yeah, a bunch of 6'7", 6'8" guys. And remember, and we've talked about this before on the show, that they kind of rebuilt the philosophy. When they were doing the kind of go fast, go hard, a lot of RPO, so run, pass option stuff, where the line just drives, comes off the ball and drives. They never really sit back and set pass protection where you take a kick, drop, step, and, and pass protect with your arms out. They were recruiting shorter, heavier kind of bulldozers.
Bijan Kuroma.
Right. And they decided to make a fundamental change to go back to a remnants of the old West Coast offense that BYU used to run. Aaron Roderick.
French is pleased.
Right. Yeah, well, Roger loves this. So they went out and they recruit a bunch of 6'7", 6'8", 6'5".
Look at those numbers.
I mean, it's crazy. James Empey's the little guy at 6'4" and 303. A lot of these guys were high school basketball players, so they're very skilled, great feet and great arms. But they come in, and they might be, and Brady Christensen's a perfect example. He started as a freshman at 255 pounds at left tackle.
255.
Now he's a 310-pound monster in the NFL. He's going to be really good in the NFL, right? Blake Freeland played quarterback in high school. And now he's playing left tackle, and he's an NFL prospect,
and
right?
Started against played against Boise
right,
State.
and 6'8" and 300 plus, right? So they've built this from the ground up, and now what they've done 5 years ago is starting to pay off because these guys are now upperclassmen. They have experience. They're a bunch of monsters, and I really like that Blake Freeland, Clark Barrington. I always talk to Clark and James. I'm like, because every offensive line needs to have a couple of nasty dudes, like a couple of idiots. We talk about that. I'm like, but I'm saying idiot in a good way, right? Like just a couple of guys that the defensive line is just like, they get in their heads. Like, I hate those guys. They just talk all game long. Clark and James kind of are in competition with one another who can be a bigger idiot to the defensive line. And they get in your head, and they play nasty, and they just go out there and play with an edge. And that makes the whole line play with an edge. So if you're watching to see watch Clark and James inside. They're always talking. They're playing nasty, clean and nasty. It's just what you need inside. And then Tukwuafu and Pay have been battling. I think Pay's probably going to start at that
He's emerged quite a bit.
right guard because he's really, really good. Great heritage. His dad was a really good offensive lineman. And then at that right tackle, Harris LeChance. And then I think Keim is probably the next guy. And he looked like a baby deer when he got back off of his mission, like really long and really thin. And then he's like kind of like an elk now, like a big bull elk now.
Elk.
Yeah, and then, but he'll be a moose before it's all said and done.
Snap.
So they go from baby deer to buck to elk to moose.
And that's the evolution.
That's the evolution of an offensive
Wapiti
lineman.
would be in there. That was my middle school mascot, which is a white-butted deer.
No,
white-tailed deer.
They're small.
Super
They're small.
weird.
Yeah. No, so like Blake Freeland, he's run the full gamut. He's a giant.
Yes.
He's a giant bull moose now, right?
He's a giant.
Don't mess with him.
elk bull moose.
Don't mess with him.
Yes.
So and Clark, I don't know if he's really a moose. He's more like a.
Be careful here. They are a huge offensive lineman.
He's more like a Nile crocodile. Like
Nile
just
crocodile.
angry,
Okay.
gnarly teeth. Just does he just
Is that
don't
why he has
When
a
did this show
mustache?
turn into Animal Planet?
don't mess with him. Don't mess with him because
Wizard of Paws, we're coming for you.
don't mess with because he might bite your arm off. That's Clark.
I typically avoid those kind of people.
So I love this offensive line. They're not quite as deep as last year because last year I felt like they were 9 deep with experience. They're 9 deep with talent, but they're not 9 deep with talent and experience. So after you get
7 or
past
8?
the first 6 or 7, probably 7. After you get past the first 7, you got talent, but it's really young talent, inexperienced talent. Last year I felt like they had 9 deep with talent, and so that's the thing. They need to stay healthy. That first 5 is as good as anybody in the country has. Period. So it's a good group up front.
Okay, we got 1 minute left. Your thoughts on the matchup with Arizona?
So I like it. I like that Arizona, they've lost some talent via all the things that have gone on, coaching changes and all that. They're coming in with new schemes. I think BYU is a much more, at this point, established program. I think talent-wise, BYU matches up or is better talent-wise. This is a game that BYU should win. And they're favored in every
double digit.
Yeah, and I think that's right in this one. I think this is a good opportunity. If they take care of business, dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides, you guys outline that D-line. Everybody's questioning that. They're going to be good. I think BYU wins in the trenches, and they have this thing. I think double digits, not crazy for this one.
Okay, if you like the animal analogies and the breakdown from Blaine, you're going to love After Further Review, 7 Eastern tonight. Can't wait for that on the BYU TV app.
We'll be there.
5:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. You going to be there? Will I see you at the gym?
I
have a bike
I
next
am
to me.
flying to San Diego tonight. Otherwise, I would be. But here's the thing: I will be running on the beach tomorrow morning and doing all kinds of.
So not
push-ups,
only are you not going to
push-ups
show up
and
at the gym
pull-ups
with me, you're going to rub it in my face that you're going to be running on the beach.
There's something very soothing about hearing the waves come in and out while you're running.
understand.
Right?
Yes.
So,
I just
but
put some
I
AirPods
promise
in
you, I
and
will
it's
not miss a workout between now and when I see you next time.
Okay.
I got to keep up with him, and he's
I know,
he's
I
like
know. He's-
71 years younger than me.
That's,
I mean,
which
it's
is
literally- no,
shocking.
that is a
People
literal-
asking me
that's
how old I
shocking.
am, and I tell them I'm 76 because they think, dude, you look good for 76.
76
So,
trombones.
yeah, if I tell them how old I really am, then they're like, he doesn't look that good. But for 70, I look good.
You look great for 70, Blaine.
So thanks.
It's the one time you want to
Appreciate it.
add years to your age, right?
I feel like I look good for my age at 70.
Thanks, Blaine.
Thanks, Blaine.